Leona here. I'm going to skip the montage of animated clips and general introduction, as there is a singular thing I want to discuss, and that is Witch Hat Atelier Volume 8, which has recently been released in the US. As with previous volumes, I found that it did not disappoint in terms of narrative progression, so I just wanted to share some thoughts, evaluations, and predictions regarding this volume. So needless to say, there are spoilers up to chapter 45, so be wary if you haven't read this far. So the themes rung very strong in this volume. Freedom of choice, shackles of circumstance, as well as societal standards, fighting the good fight against fate, as well as a double-edged sword of rebellion. So far, both perspectives on magic as a whole have been introduced, with the brimmed hats asserting that it is a miracle that grants any desire, while Quifri and Belderuit somberly consider it as one would a high-risk tool, useful but hazardous. Here, the dichotomy is also present. However, Shirahama seems to present these sides more ambivalently and with more emphasis. First, Tarda, who has been dealt bad cards, and Kustas, who has been dealt even worse cards, seem to represent dissident and contrary opinions. They resent what they consider to be bondage and find unbridled delight in freedom. Kustas casting aside the chains of fate, and Tarda tossing aside the chains of regulations. This theme of freedom is only emphasized through Kustas's flight, as birds and flying in general are often used to symbolize freedom in fiction. Yet, while what Tarda is doing is obviously egregious, you understand his reasoning and his struggle. Facing insurmountable hurdles due to Silverwash had left him joyless. I mean, he is really quite grumpy when Coco first meets him. Look at that sour face. But here, he actually seems genuinely and fully happy. And his plight makes you wonder how equitable the society really is. If he's born into witch society but can't pursue apprenticeship and become a witch, then what life is there for him if he can't choose from other occupations that regular people have? And what if a child who was born in the Great Hall or something and is undoctrinated in the ways of magic doesn't want to become a witch? Are they forced to go through apprenticeship or live in a small enclosed microcosm of witch society, even if they dream of traveling and living afar? And if Coco was granted that opportunity to break the rules and change her fate, why can't Tarta and Kustas follow suit? These issues raise questions for days, but the point is that society is full of suffocating restrictions. And then, of course, you have Aninia, who claims to be a true witch and uses forbidden magic to reverse time and save Dagda's life. While this act is obviously a violation and is presented quite ominously, she is still saving a life at the end of the day. For even if you're violating society standards, helping others is the most important objective, right? Rules are made for people, not people for rules? Well, you'd think, but there are risks, especially when magical ability is boundless. And you see that perspective through Rugio and Quifri's lesson about the dangers of harmless, phantasmal fire, and essentially how children and people should observe and handle magic with caution and discretion. For with great power comes responsibility because of the overwhelming destructive capacity. And unfortunately for Tarda, he seems to be oblivious to that risk. While flying to the Atelier, he was unaware of the dragons flying nearby. He even seems to forget to teach the dangers of flying to Kustas, who is completely ignorant and unexperienced when it comes to aerial transportation. I mean, who's to say Kustas wouldn't fly too high or too far, or fail to understand the wind patterns and wind up in a storm or among a pack of dragons? But as for Tarda, his Silverwash also makes him unable to distinguish poisonous mountain apples from the safe ones. The story seems to emphasize his blindness to various things. Despite his understandable frustrations and motives, he just might be playing with fire here. Not to mention that stranger Aninia seems to offer a new strange fire, introducing Kustas to the marvel of forbidden magic, and perhaps kindling a distrust towards the witches he knows, seeing as they might have been holding out on him. And this does raise another question. If the Brimmed Hats really wanted to overturn society, would not working as miracle workers be a good strategy? Offer something tantalizing that the other witches can't, stir up some chaos, make the people question the other witches and reject them, forcing the witch society into a corner as their position in the world is threatened? I don't know. That tangent aside, the plot seems to be darkening. Even Coco's own radiance has waned a bit, and she continues to be confronted by the harsh plights of others. The fact that magic isn't just luminous tiles and wonders, and that guilt as she realizes how unfair and privileged her own infractuous entrance into witch society was. From here on out, I expect things to get dicier. I think, unfortunately, Coco herself will be lured into despair, and I expect an upheaval regarding Kustas' encounter with this witch, and perhaps a confrontation between, say, Coco and her gang and this witch. Also, I would like to see more of Agathe. She was silently contemplative this volume, and her caring about Coco more than she wanted to admit was pretty darn cute. But anyway, that's it. In the comments, please share your thoughts too. Did you like this volume? Do you like where the story is going? Please share them below. Also, feel free to like and subscribe if you're so inclined. And lastly, since I didn't post last week, I will be uploading a bonus video tomorrow, so tune in if you're interested. With that, I thank you sincerely and hope that you find meaning in your pursuit of manga, anime, and happiness in life. I hope to see you in my next video.